A.J. Henning, returnable from the 39-yard line. Breaks a couple of tackles. Heading to midfield. Left space. Breaks another tackle. Heading down the sideline. Looking for the pylon after a cutback. He's got a Michigan touchdown.
All right, that's the way it sounded on ABC. Thanks for them for providing the audio and the pictures today. The game is now a final. It's gone final just a couple minutes ago. 59-0. Welcome in. Maize and Blue Reviews, Michigan Football Postgame Live. I'm Dennis Fithian, joined by former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli. And Scar, the Wolverines accomplish their goal in the non-conference schedule this year, non-con 22, of going 3-0, and they punctuated today by the shutout victory over UConn, 59-0. Welcome in. How are you?
Hey, great. Just another great performance. Another game where everybody plays. We cleared the bench, got a lot of quarterbacks work, got a lot of running backs work. Everybody got work. Second string was productive today. Offensively, we scored touchdowns. Defensively, we stopped them. Third string got in there. A lot of good stuff going on today.
Yeah, I look at this one, and, there was never a question that Michigan was going to win this one, even before they kicked it off. And they went out in, I would say, workmanlike fashion. But really, you can go to the offense, and, Blake Corum was able to punch all those touchdowns in, getting 5 scores. And J.J. McCarthy wasn't perfect in his second start, but he was pretty good spreading the ball around. And, Michigan rolling up 59 points, but the defense got some turnovers, put the offense in good position. And then you're always looking for special teams, the 3 phases of the game. And this was really an offense, defense, and special teams game. The special teams coming up, Jay Harbaugh's team, they had a block punt. They had A.J. Henning, who you heard there at the beginning with the audio, with the big-time punt return. That was an awesome punt return, regardless of who you're playing. And then they also, Robbins pinning the Huskies inside the 5 with a punt. Those are all good things. You like to see that. I know they missed a 60-plus yard field goal there at the end, but they wanted to see what kind of leg the Groza Award winner had. I was all right with that. He made another field goal. But so all 3 phases of the game, and I'm sure they'll be able to go back. I know watching the game and looking online, there were some people that were upset about some things that Michigan was doing. But, all in all, I don't know. I'll give them an A performance today. What about you?
Hey, Danny, I must be starting to rub off on you, man. You're starting to sound like a coach. You're talking about the kicking game, and it's a beautiful thing. And we were great in all phases. I mean, we scored points in the kicking game, and but here's something. I'm just a general observation. What I'm seeing from Michigan is offensively, defensively, special teams. We are creative. Our coaches are creative in all 3 phases. We have some good foundational stuff offensively. We got like 4 foundational inside zone, outside zone, power in the RPO game. That's kind of our foundation on offense. But we do a lot of stuff off of it. Defensively, we got some big, some foundational fronts and schemes we want to play, but we do a lot of stuff off of it. And the same thing with the special teams. And what I'm seeing today, which was really impressive, is you want to be able to do, something really good, some base stuff good, and then some other creative things. And the creative things in all phases of the game today, Michigan was good in. We don't have guys out of position. We run some different things offensively, and guys are in the right spot. So I was liking what I was seeing from an overall good at a few things in all phases, but then creative from all of our coaches in all 3 phases.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you play, like this was a real team that they were playing here today, but you also know that Michigan's game plan going in here, that they're not going to, empty the kitchen, throw everything at them in the kitchen sink. They're not going to empty everything out of their toolbox in their playbook when they're going up against the Huskies. And I know there's a lot of people that's like, they want to see deep shots. They want everybody involved. They want 10 sacks, and they want, this creativity that, the stuff that you're talking about. And, coaches, they are going to hold some of that stuff back. So that's part of it. That's one of the downsides when you're playing a lesser than team, which they have played 3 games in a row that way, where they are, just going to do some of the basic stuff. And you're like, why don't you throw the ball deep to Andrell Anthony? Why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? But, that stuff's coming, up ahead. I'd look, they did, some of the things that we talked about, with AJ Henning, the possibility of him being in the backfield, and Donovan Edwards was, I always say rested, or he was banged up with an ankle injury that he suffered last week. So he didn't play. So, they did put AJ Henning in the backfield and gave him the ball that one time. And, I think we're expecting to see a little bit more of that and some more things like that from this offense in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, well, we saw the orgy package at the end. I mean, he went in the game. The first play he went in the game, sure enough, Jim Moore calls a stunt, calls a blitz, and we go, he gets us for a negative play. But then Michigan came back to it, and we ran another orgy power play. Quarterback power was a success, and then we ran the quarterback draw with him. So those are creative. Those are different. Those are creative things that give defensive problems. So they got to start preparing, for that Alex Orgy package. And he looked good throwing the ball too. He threw a nice ball. So it was really good to see so many of these quarterbacks that went in there and did some, pretty good things, look productive.
Yeah, the Orgy doesn't look like a true freshman. He's built more like a senior. And you mentioned all those quarterbacks. They put in a ton of them. McCarthy with the start. I'm listing up there. Bowman, Cade McNamara. We'll see if we can get a report on Cade. Brandon Mann. I didn't know he was on the team. There's Orgy, Davis Warren, Andy Maddox. That's a lot of QBs getting in there. But, yeah, with Orgy, you think about the short yardage situation. And Donovan Edwards, definitely Michigan was giving Edwards an opportunity in those first two games. He ran the ball a lot between the tackles, and in short yardage situations, they were giving Edwards the ball, and he wasn't there today. But Orgy being an option in the short yardage game, that's real now. I mean, I would expect it, wouldn't you, in the games ahead? If Michigan is presented with a 3rd or 4th and 1, you might see number 10 out there. He might get his number called on.
Oh yeah, they're working on it, and he's been good. It's a low risk play. You're not asking him to throw, but that stuff defense has to prepare for, and that's a good little package so far. You had quarterback power, and if he can show that he can throw the bubble pass like he did today, and then you make him defend pass. So now he's more of a threat. They just can't play the quarterback power or the quarterback empty draw like we did today. But Danny, this was a great game for us. Jim Moore is a good coach. I think that team was well coached. They just don't have the players. They just don't have the kind of players Michigan has. I thought they were in the right spots. They were trying to do, their offense looks kind of similar to some of the things we're trying to do. It's a great game for us for the Iowa game 2 weeks from now. So because of what they did offensively. So this was a really good game for us. But talking about the quarterbacks, I think Cade might have got dinged up there a little bit.
Yeah,
he was only in there for 2 plays, but again, that gives you got to reinforce the argument. Well, you got to have quarterbacks ready to play.
If you are out there, you are out there. I see you watching. I see you on Twitter. You can leave a tweet. I will read the tweets on the air for your feedback. If you want to talk, just raise your hand. I'll put you on the air here with Jim Scarcelli. If you are watching via YouTube or Facebook or any other way that you're out there, we take your feedback in real time. Let's get some messages up right away, Scar, and see what the people are thinking. Antoine says, this offense is so great, you don't have to do much. JJ was 15 of 16, 259, and 3 TDs. I think he's talking about for the entire non-conference slate, because he wasn't that today. He was 15 of 18 for 214, which was under the 225 total that I had him going over on. But what about, let's signal out J.J. McCarthy and what you thought of his game today.
Outstanding, man. I mean, we talked it about a couple of weeks ago, Danny, that, teams are going to try to create conflict on the RPO quarterback read that, JJ's been running with so much success. And the key is you got to have an athletic defensive end. And normally that's the problem, is you got to have a guy, the defensive end is the guy that's responsible for the quarterback. Normally he's a 260-pound kid too. He's got to take on tackles, tight ends, and guards. And now you want him to run with a 4-5 quarterback. But UConn had a kid in there that actually made a play. He made JJ's read kind of tough for him. And he caught us for a negative play there. But that's really, really the only play I saw that, that's just a read. Their guy made a good play, put our quarterback in conflict. But I thought JJ threw the ball well. He threw the ball confident, a little short on some of them, but our receivers caught the ball. I think almost every ball he threw, Denny, was catchable. Did you see any balls that weren't catchable? I thought everything he threw was catchable balls. I thought he was good. Just one time on the read. Very good. He got out of contain. He broke contain, stepped up, kept it alive with his legs. Real good performance for second start.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There wasn't too much that, there wasn't, and he didn't throw any touchdowns, but, he delivered the ball. There could have been a couple for him. There was one to Ronnie Bell that ended up being a pretty good throw. If he leaves it out there for him, maybe he goes in and takes it in for the touchdown. I thought his best throw was when it was 31-0. He hit Schoonmaker over the middle. He kind of rolled out, moved up, and one play later, Corum took it in for his 4th touchdown. I thought that was his best throw, but they had a 3-and-out on the second series, and he took a sack. And I thought, at first, maybe there's some groans or something, but I think that was good. JJ McCarthy. You remember last year him running around and some of this Patrick Mahomes things, and let's throw it off balance or off schedule or against the grain. There wasn't a whole lot of that, and I think him taking a sack or he could have actually thrown the ball away. I'm sure that's what they'll talk about in the film room. But he doesn't have to do all of that. And if he's going to do things like off schedule, 5 times a game, maybe he only has to do it 2 times. And I felt like he was being careful that way by not going too much like I said, off schedule.
Yeah, well, I thought he was pretty sound. I don't think he was he took any chances, and I would be pretty happy with what he did if I was coaching him. UConn was, I guarantee you, the game plan for UConn was to take away Michigan's power. They did everything, and they did a good job in many cases of making our power run game out of the power play. They really focused on it, but that's why I like the creativity. Michigan is showing power, and we're throwing bubble away from power. We're gonna break that down Thursday, and we'll show it. But if you want to look at it, if you want to look at the film, I'm glad that Michigan has that play in. I've seen Ole Miss running that play, and a lot, the guy at the USC, all these air spread guys are running some of these conflicting, chaotic, give defensive problems plays, and we got it in the offense now. It looks like power. We're throwing bubble away, and we had great success with that, especially if you run power with success like we do. So I'm glad our coaches have it in, and JG did a great job. He does a great job, I think, throwing that bubble, and where the back is getting the ball running.
I'm Dennis Fithian, that's Jim Scarcelli, and you want to get in, we're taking your calls. We're reading your feedback as we go through here. I also see from the Maize and Blue Review, we have Brock, and we're going to bring Brock up first thing here. I think I have Brock up. He just has to turn on his mic, and he's good.
Yeah, you got me.
There he is. Brock from the Maize and Blue Review. It's great to hear you. You sound good, Brock. What did you think of the game today?
It was great. Obviously, there's not too much to be learned. 59-0 win over one of the worst teams in football, but obviously Corum looked good, JJ looked good. So looking forward to Big Ten play next week, where we can actually start learning some things about this team as they take on probably one of the better offenses, maybe not even in the Big Ten, but in college football in Maryland. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, going to be a team more that, you're not going to be a 50-point favorite, and it's not going to be decided beforehand. And when you do have, we have seen it, Brock, you're not as old as I am or Jim. Down through the history, though, there have been some of these games. I think about what was the year when I'm asking Scarcelli here, where it was, Michigan taking on Ricky Foggy in Minnesota. Now, I was on the road, but one quarterback coming up and, beating Michigan, who had a great season that year, and it can happen. Now, I'm not putting, Tagovailoa, I don't know how great he is, Brock and Scar, but he is a gunslinger. He can get hot. He didn't have any touchdowns week 1. He had 4 last week, but he's going to throw it all over the yard. Somebody like that can get hot and can get dangerous. So, I mean, that is the one thing that you think about the secondary. You think about the pass rush going in there.
Right. And Jamon Green and DJ Turner and along with Sainristil and Rod Moore in the secondary, they've been great so far. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do against, like you said, Tagovailoa can sometimes be a little hit or miss, but just to see them go up against better competition, it'll be really good to see. And hopefully they can produce at the same level that they have been through the first 3 games.
Hey, Brock, I read your stuff on the Maize and Blue Review. I follow you on Twitter, but I've never pronounced your last name. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody? I was going to take a shot at it, but I'll just go ahead and ask you straight ahead, because I see your byline all the time, but I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, it's pronounced Heilig. So high like H-I-G-H, and then lig like it rhymes with pig.
Well, that's not the way I was going to pronounce it, so I'm glad. Brock Heilig joining us here from Michigan Rivals. You can see him on Twitter at Brock Heilig, Heilig. You got a final thought there, Brock?
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen JJ get a passing touchdown or 2. He had a few passes, if I remember right, that he had one to Schoonmaker and one to, I think it was Ronnie Bell, where both of them were tackled at like the 1 yard line, and then Corum ran them in. But I'm sure he'll get his passing touchdowns later in the season. This offense is electric, and it was good to see Corum getting his workload in. So it was good to see.
And getting his 5 touchdowns. Brock, it's great to hear your voice. Great work at the Maize and Blue Review. And thanks for calling out.
Hey, Brock, love your stuff, man. Keep working hard, brother. Love it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
There he is, Brock Heilig, part of the Maize and Blue Review. And that's the way it's done. If you want to get in, go ahead, put your hand up, get in, and you can give your thoughts in on the game. Scar, I don't care who really scores the touchdowns. It was pretty cool to see Corum, match the Michigan record, getting 5 scores. But there were some people I saw during the day that had mentioned that they had jumped on the McCarthy Heisman bandwagon, and not only jumping on it, like cheering for JJ McCarthy and the possibility. It's a long shot, of course, anybody to win a Heisman Trophy. But, you're a quarterback at Michigan, and you're, an exciting quarterback like McCarthy. You can understand people at least thinking about it. But there were some people that did more than think about it. They went out and put money on McCarthy winning the Heisman Trophy. So if that was the case, I could see how, like what Brock was saying, you wanted to see maybe a couple, like 2 passing touchdowns or something, because as you know, it is more than anything, it is a beauty contest. If you're the quarterback on one of the best teams in the country, your name is going to be up there for the Heisman Trophy, and having the stats. I mean, so you see a team, hey, undefeated, see a team in the top 5. Who's the quarterback? McCarthy. Okay, let's start taking a look at his numbers. His numbers have been pretty good, but no touchdowns today.
Yeah, hey, a Heisman Trophy, you gotta have a good team, man. So you gotta have a good defense, good special teams, good run game, and hey, look, JJ, what we've seen the last 2, he doesn't look. If I watch the kid from Ohio State, the kid from Alabama, our guy's right there, man. Our guy can run, our guy can throw. He makes plays. He's athletic. I'll take him. There's no big difference in my eyes in the Alabama kid, the Ohio State kid, and if JJ continues to grow with the athleticism, the speed, the threat, with the RPO game that he puts on defenses, I'm gonna take him. Danny, a couple of things I'm liking what I'm seeing real quick offensively. We ran inside zone well, outside zone. We don't run outside of much, but we ran it today. We did pretty good with it. Power, they focused on power. We struggled a little bit with it, but it opened up other things. Danny, when a team says we're going to take away this play Okay, great. We got an answer. That's what I like about what we have offensively. They can focus on something, but we have an answer if you want to take away that. We talked about Orgy. I'd like to see an expansion of his game. That's a great thing. I really was looking at Big Jones, man. Jim talked about his ability to down block and move people, and he really demonstrated again today. I love seeing our short yardage, Denny. I'm talking when we need 6 inches, a foot, 2 feet. We have been great with movement there. Again, Hawaii, and Colorado State and UConn, but I liked what I saw in really, really short yardage offensive football, and it was good. Now you asked me about short yardage, and I who's going to replace Haskins, and my answer was, hopefully we can get it from Edwards, we can get it from Corum, but I'll tell you what, Haskins was a special kid, and this Gash kid is a physical running back. And they put him in there in some short yardage stuff, and he might be a guy when we really need 18 inches or 4 inches to be that guy. But otherwise, quarterback played a lot of guys. I like Gash. We got Stokes in there. He makes people miss. Our receivers were doing a great job blocking downfield. And just when I made my notes, how great we were blocking downfield, Kojo had a holding penalty. One of the first holding penalties we had with our receivers all year. But I think that's Bellamy coaching the receivers and the pass protection out of our running backs. Man, is it good. And again, you got to compliment Michael Hart. We played a ton of tight ends today. A lot of them played. He had Bredesen in there. We played with a fullback one time. He put Bredesen, the young tight end, and put him in at fullback. And he was actually in the game early as a tight end. So there's young guys that are making moves offensively, to get more playing time. But some interesting things we're seeing. All good stuff. Playing a lot of new young guys. I know I threw a lot at you, Denny. Go ahead at it.
Yeah, well, I would say, there's one thing that's jumped out in these 3 games is that Michigan, whether it's demanding or you can just see it when you're watching it, you could see it in that first game when Roman Wilson had that 61-yard touchdown. There were 2 guys that were out there as wide receivers that were putting a hat on a hat and were blocking, and they were wide receivers, and you saw it again today. And so you're going to have some holds. If you guys are going out there and you're really getting downfield, you're really driving those guys, once in a while, you're going to get some of those. You're going to get some of those blocks in the back and all of that. As well. There were some people, sometimes you say, wow, man, you guys were watching a different game than we were. I was, as I was watching the game, looking at the Mason Blue review of the Den, and some of those people were like, you can't throw that ball. That'll be an interception against Iowa. Or, man, the defense gives you the ball short field at the 22 and you got to settle for a field goal. That's not going to work. Even though it's UConn and even though it's Hawaii and even though you're taking on a team like Colorado State, you're not going to line up every down, blow everybody off the ball, go for 5-10 yards of crack when you're running it, and then throw the ball and share the wealth across the field. It's just not going to happen like that. Like I said, you're using a limited playbook as well. So, like I say, overall, I give Michigan an A. Here's a question coming in from Otis, who asks if you think we should have taken more wide receiver shots in the end zone. What do you think, Scar?
The coaches offensively, when you get a game like this, sometimes it comes to the point, well, what do we want to work on? Because we're up 21, we're up 28. We can do whatever we want. What do we need to work on as the coaching staff? Do we want to show, this in this down and distance situation? Do we want to show that formation? Do we want to break our tendencies? Do we want to, so as far as the question, do you think we should have taken more wide receiver shots in the end zone? I have to look at what they were doing defensively to answer that question. Were those shots open? Were they available? But getting back to those, one thing I saw today, I didn't mention Roman Wilson. He's really the speed and space. He keeps showing it. You get him the ball in that bubble screen, man. Roman makes things happen. I remember watching him in high school, with his speed, and that was good to see again from Roman Wilson.
Yeah, AJ making the point that UConn playing those two deep safeties, they're not giving up anything deep, and so Michigan is going to take what the defense is giving them, and I would say that is correct. And there's a sheet that you could go out and we could make and say, out of these 3 games, what did Michigan accomplish? Did they accomplish everything that you would want? They have stayed relatively healthy. That would be the first thing that I would put. Well, first thing I would put, did they win the game? They did. After that, how healthy did they stay? And they've got a couple guys banged up. Donovan Edwards, is one. You're going to have guys that are going to get nicked in that, but they have avoided what looks like, and we'll see what happens with Cade. That would be a pretty big time injury if he missed any time. Suddenly those backups that we've been talking about would be one snap away from possibly going in. That would be a pretty big deal. And then after that, you want to say, hey, is the offensive line, they have to work together. And, were they blowing the Huskies off the ball every down? No, it didn't happen. But I don't know, they ended up with 4.5 yards per carry. Corum looked pretty good. They ran it in when they needed to in short yardage situations down at the goal line. I feel pretty good about the running game. And, you remember they didn't have their second best back in there. So I feel pretty good about that. And when it came down to protection for JJ McCarthy with the running backs you already mentioned, and then the offensive line overall, McCarthy can move around a little bit, but that looked pretty good to me as well. And as far as taking either deep shots, like, the safeties being back, some of those touchdowns I already mentioned, Ronnie Bell gets it down, he's running all the way down there, gets it down to the 1. Do you really want to throw a jump ball when you're down to the 1, or do you want to run it? It was the same thing when Schoolmaker got it down to, the 1 yard line. They weren't in a lot of situations where you say, here they are at the 5 or the 10, where, you're looking at it and you're talking about maybe throwing it into the end zone. And I think the thing that you said stands out to me is that what do they really want to work on? When you're getting up, when you're going in, you could be a little bit nervous as a coach, even though you're, almost a 50-point favorite. But when you get up to, it's 24-0, it's 31-0, you really think, okay, do we really, want to put our quarterback in a situation if they are playing too deep? Remember, my favorite thing in football is throwing the ball deep. So it's not like I'm sitting here telling you, boy, I wish they really wouldn't do that. But there is one side about throwing the ball deep, is that a lot of times your quarterback's going to take a big shot, because you got to hang in there. You got to let that play develop. And, do they want to put their quarterback in a position when they're up 38-0 to, air it out, for some 40, 50-yard bomb with the potential that somebody's going to come off the edge and put a hat, right in their sternum. So I don't know if that could be something that played into it as well.
Yeah. The coaches are thinking about that. Again, there's so many players they want to take a look at. Do they want to show stuff? I like the idea. Last week we showed power reverse, because all those plays make it tougher to defend power when there's conflict with it. Today we showed a lot of RPO away from power. So all that stuff it makes your power play. You can run it better when you got the RPO against it. They got to be concerned with RPO away from power. So I'd like, as far as my take on these 3 games, hey, we won all 3 of them, man. And I think we got better. I think, and a lot of guys got better. 80-some kids played in almost every one of those games, and you're right about coming out fairly easy. Danny, I got some notes defensively. You want me to whip through some of my notes here real quick?
Yeah, of course. I just want to alert everybody, if they want to put a message up, we will put it on the screen. If there's anybody that's on Twitter Spaces that wants to get in and make a comment or leave a tweet, I'll read those as well. We'd like the feedback from the people. We watch these games and we make our notes, and we're going to say things. The Scar's just going to go over to the defensive side. But we really like people that watch the game, certainly that were at the game, that want to make a point or not. I want to say one more thing about the offense and, the 3 games that we've seen from JJ McCarthy. There's no doubt, quarterbacks are going to have their favorite plays, and they're going to have their, what seems like their security blanket and, their favorite receiver. Now, McCarthy, it's pretty easy to see that he really likes Ronnie Bell. I don't think that's a bad thing. Ronnie Bell's a pretty good wide receiver. And he also, getting the ball to Roman Wilson sounds like a really good idea. They do have Cornelius Johnson, and they do have Andrell Anthony. If everything was perfect in this non-conference slate, offensively, if you could say, I'd like to see this guy get a pass, this guy get targeted, that guy get targeted, I would have it didn't have to be a 50-yard bomb to Andrew Anthony. I wouldn't mind, forcing some targets his way. I mean, I don't know, did he catch a pass this year? Yeah, so I know what he can do. And I know that he really didn't come out and bust out until halfway through the season last year. And maybe he's just big game Andrell, but let's see him get a couple more balls go his way. I would say it's the same thing about Johnson. And maybe that's when they get down inside the red zone against Maryland, or, when they're going to Indiana, that's when they'll, use Cornelius Johnson's size, and they'll throw some jump balls. But those are just some fine points that I think that you look at if you're a Michigan fan, saying, these are a couple things you wouldn't have minded seeing. Overall, like I said, I still give, for today, I would give Michigan an A, and for their non-conference, even though the opponents and everything else, game plan, execution and everything they did, I still give them an A. What it's worth, with, as they get ready for Maryland, I don't know, but those are my grades. So all right, let's hear from the defensive side. Scar, a couple of things that you were looking at.
All right, Danny, real quick on, I agree with you on Anthony. I'm wondering why we haven't thrown more. Sometimes it's what the defense is doing, though. I'd have to take a look. Maybe the defense is giving more attention to Kojo, Anthony. I don't know. We got to look at the film to really understand that. But that was just my thought on that. Here's some things I'm seeing. Mozzie Smith is an all-American type football player. Very, he just dominates. He did a great job in there against the run. I really like our run defense. They want to run the football. Very seldom are we out of gaps. We are very sound. Well, getting better, gap sound, really good stuff. We did a pretty good, and again, another one of my notes, I wrote down substitutions was great. We've been great on substitutions, getting our packages in there. We saw what happened against Michigan State last year, and I thought we've been flawless in 3 games. And as soon as I wrote that down, boom, we had one time where we didn't get lined up right. We didn't look like we had our communication right. But for the most part, our substitute, and we are doing a ton of substitutions. He got 1st and 10 personnel against their 12 personnel, and then man, we get them 2nd and 8, and everything changes. We got different personnel and to get an advantage. So that stuff, you got to get your you got to get your substitutions right. And I think Minter has done a really good job of that. Minter right now, in my opinion, he's every bit as good as McDonald. He's smart. He's creative. I see him calling stunts at certain times, and he's been right often. When you're right often, that's not luck. If you do it more than 50% of the times, he's seeing things through scouting, and that's a sign of a smart guy. So I'm really happy to see that. But our D-line, again, Jenkins continues to impress me. We played a lot of the young guys in there, again, real early. Graham and Grant. Grant's got to get lower. The big kid's 78 in there, but he's young. He's going to get better. He's got to just keep getting lower. It looks like McGregor is continuing to show me that he could rush the quarterback. Harrell did some good things in there. Him and Harrell took the first snap. That's interesting. I take a look at that. McGregor and Harrell, they took the first snaps to start the game. Okay, and McGregor showed me some things against the run also. But Michael Barrett impressed me a lot as a linebacker.
Agreed.
He's rotating in with Mullings. Junior really doesn't leave the field. I'll tell you who impresses the heck out of me is Sanistrol. They're going to bring him a lot, I think, like they did last year with Dax Hill. McDonald liked to bring the safety blitzes with Dax Hill off the edge. Sanistrol, man, is he good in that? Yeah. They did it a couple times with him here now, and he gets there fast. And boy, he'll hit you.
Yeah, he's good. I know he lines up in the slot, so he is right there next to the line of scrimmage. He sure does make a lot of plays right there at the line of scrimmage. He gets into the backfield. He can tackle. He can cover. He's making plays. He looks like I say he looks like a natural. He's played wide receiver for 3 years now. He's just moved over, and he's playing defense. But he looks good when he's out there. We get some of the breaking news in Scar in terms of Michigan. That's the breaking news sounder in it regarding Cade McNamara. Jim Harbaugh has said Cade McNamara probably is going to be out a few weeks and he'll miss some time. He did add that he doesn't believe it will be season ending. So Cade is going to miss some time. I do have a picture that is sent to me from a friend of mine of the third quarter of the stands. I guess that's the student section. You can see it on TV too. It was pretty bare. These 3 games, Michigan was up 103-0 in the at the half. And so people, a lot of times, if you're having a good time at your tailgate, you're thinking about, hey, do we really want to stay 4 or 5 hours afterwards and party? Usually the answer to me is yes, but then you see a gap where you're like, hey, we could leave this thing and, we could get home at a reasonable time. And, that's part of it. Like I said, there's some Michigan fans that don't care at all. They love, the easier the game, the better. I like a tough game. We've been over and over this, but, that'll be part of it when you see everybody heading for the stands. 2 years ago when they took Notre Dame and they put them into the they almost put them into November, that game that rained. It was a real rainy night game against Notre Dame the last time the two teams played. Michigan started with 2 easy games, and they moved that other non-conference game against Notre Dame in the middle of the season. If they're going to, like next year, play a non-conference slate like this, and they are, with no Power 5 teams, it would be sweet if they could, if they could take one of them and insert it somewhere else, like in the, towards the end of October. Like, we all like football, we all like Michigan football, and the opponents, whatever they're doing, they're trying to be like the SEC. They're saying, hey, we're not going to schedule any losses, we're scheduling wins, and if you're Ward Manuel saying we're taking the $25 million, everybody can shove it, whatever they're saying. And Harbaugh does have a say in it, even though that it's just Ward Manuel who really, has the trump card and everything else. But mix it up a little bit, because these 3 straight games, everybody should be at a fever pitch right now. But instead, it's been like the NFL preseason. But hey, that's it. That's all. I know I was crying about that all for the last 2 weeks.
No, I know it is what it is, and that's what we got next year too. Denny, real quick, let me finish up on defense. We've gotten much better defending bubble screen. You're going to play college football now. You better defend the bubble screen, and we do a real good job with that. And Rod Moore, man, does he come up? And I think in general, all of our defensive back coaches do a real great job with our guys recognizing when it's a run and getting out of pass mode and coming to the line of scrimmage. And boy, does Rod Moore, hopefully I can show some of that stuff I saw from him Thursday. But Denny, how about quickly on the special team? We did really good with our punt return game. And again, when you block a punt and can return punts, we showed both today. When you can do both, Denny, it's just as a guy who was on punt coverage, it's just like having the ability to run the ball and throw the ball. It puts that punt protection team in conflict. Do I have to set real deep because they're going to try to block the punt? If I do that, that's going to hurt my ability to cover punts. So am I really great at return? So it puts that punt protection in conflict, and we're good at both. We showed both, and that was really good. I actually, when you're ready to take a look at a couple of plays, I've got some of that. I got the punt block on film if you want to, whenever you're ready for that.
Coming up in 5 minutes, we will look at the Colasar punt block. Scar will diagram it. In between now and then, if you are listening on Twitter Spaces, you want to get in and make a point, go ahead, hit that button, and we'll punch you up, and you can talk about this game. If you are watching or listening somewhere else and you want to make a point, go ahead. Like Otis is asking, why does the offense seem like it takes a lunch break when Cade McNamara gets in the game? Is it something he's doing wrong, or is the offensive line just letting guys get through? What do you think about that, Scar?
I tell you, man, that's the way it looked, and he's got to just throw it away, because last year he threw that ball away when he recognized pressure. Is it still in his head? It was good to hear the Michigan fans cheering for him. That was classy. That was good. But, I don't know what's going on in Cade's head. Last year he threw those balls away. Then let's not forget the pick of the week, man.
Well, let's get to that pick of the week because you made a couple, and I do know that last night I remember you picking Wyoming, and you said that Boulder coach, he knew how to handle the triple option for Air Force, and Wyoming was at home, so I jumped on that to see if you knew what you were. If you were on top of it. And not only did they stay within, I think it was 16, 17 points they were getting at home, they won the game outright, Scar. So that was a great pick. Was that your 3-0 money pick?
Well, we also have Kansas. That was my big pick.
Kansas, that was your big pick. But the Wyoming pick was spot on. Great pick there. Okay, let's we've got 2 minutes now before we jump in and see that punt return. Let's look at the scores from today. I make it a little bit bigger. You can't see it if you're out there. And I do have the ability to blow it up. It's how quick it went. And it was kind of, you'll see some similarity here, Scar. Michigan's first series, they went down. Blake Corum with a 20-yard run, reached the football out, broke the plane of the goal. Touchdown, Michigan. They had a 3-and-out, but then they came back 8 plays and 54 yards. Touchdown. Then the defense got him the ball back, but it sputtered down there. Got him at the 22, the UConn 22. You thought that was going to be another touchdown, but they had to settle for a 26-yard field goal. But there's more. Blake Corum, touchdown in the second quarter. And then you had A.J. Henning, that 61-yard punt return. I would say that would be the highlight of the game. What about you, Scar?
Oh, so many highlights, man. The block punt was great, and just continuing to do that, stopping their run as good as we did. Just a lot of really, really good things today, man. There's a lot of good plays to look. Those coaches are going to be happy. But the problem as a coach, you look at this stuff, you always want to try to find something you can get after them on, but there's not much. There's not many negative things that happen today from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, well, my favorite play, the number one play, would be the Henning 61-yard punt return where he went through the defense. That could be me. Hey, I think they're trying to tell me something. Which, that was me. I think they were trying to tell me something. It's time for some blue skies and sunshine. The second play that after the punt return, that would be my favorite, was the J.J. McCarthy throw to Luke Schoonmaker when it was 31-0, got Michigan down to the 1. Blake Corum took it in to make it 38-0. That would be my second play. My third play was the block punt, and it is time to go through that. So are you ready for me to add that up onto the screen? Here it is.
Get up there, Denny. Let's take a look.
All right, here it is, the block punt. It's
okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we came out. UConn started out with the 2 wide gunners out here, and then they motion it, and then apparently they see our pressure here. They see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here on this side, so they bring this gunner in as an adjustment to help with the protection. So we end up having an extra rusher here. I do not understand this type of protection. They got 2 guys here, 3 here, but let's let it go through. Anyway, Colasar is down here, and he just does a great job of looking it in. We work on this as in practice, looking the ball in, taking it off the punter's foot, trying to find the smart spot. As coaches, we coach it to find a spot, 3-4 yards in front of the punter. You don't want to aim for where the punter is. That's where you have the roughing. You got to aim here. These guys that are looking to block should be aiming in here. But anyway, I'm going to let it run, and then I'm going to show you how it's just kind of like rushing the quarterback. I'll get to it let's run it through. Okay, let's take a look. Let me get this backed up here. But as we're going here, okay, we've got 4 coming, they got 3 blocking. And this guy's stepping out to block here, but there's 2 to block 3. There's 2 to block 3. Now, this is the same thing as rushing a quarterback. If we're running a stunt off the edge, we don't want this guy to go outside of this blocker. because then that way this guy can take 2. You understand? We want this guy to nose up this guy to nose up him, so now Colasar can come free. Okay, and you see, you got to take a close look, but this guy here is real smart. He doesn't come outside. Now Colasar is free, and he comes right off the edge of that. So he's unblocked, and he makes the play. But this guy right here is going to get a gold helmet on his a gold sticker on his helmet because he was smart. Both of these guys were smart. They didn't block the punt, but they enabled them by engaging from a head-up punch, not working outside, enabled Colasar to block the punt. Great job by the punt team there. And then we pick it up. We get some blocks, pick up yards. Any thoughts on that play, Denny?
Did Colasar just block that with his left arm, or did he get both of his arms over there? It's not often that you see a guy. It looked like he just got it with his left arm, reached in there and was able to get that, which is pretty.
I don't know.
He missed it, if he misses that and gets into the kicker there, that's going to be a penalty. So, right? Yeah.
And he that was perfect technique. He looked it in. I like this play. It's smart coaching. It's smart coaching. We're down in here 2nd and 4. Okay, so we come out here and we put Ronnie Bell in motion. They're in man coverage. Okay, and a lot of times these guys, they don't want to get caught in the wash here if we run him across and run him in the flat. That's what we do a lot. A lot of teams will do that. So he wants to try to get here so he can make the play in a flat. So what he does is he overextends, and Ronnie Bell doubles back on him, and he's wide open, and we get good blocking. JJ throws a nice pass. Let's take a look. So this kid is widening with Ronnie Bell. He's in, and Ronnie pump fakes him there, and we get good blocking from our big tackle here. We get good blocking from Corum. That edge is sealed. Nice throw, nice catch, and Ronnie Bell makes a miss. And we get it down there on the 6-inch line.
What's the technique there, Scar? If you're the defender, do you want to stay a step or two behind him?
Denny, it's that's just it. It's like you have to position yourself because this kid just Ronnie Bell pump fakes him.
Overruns it. Yeah, he overruns it.
Yeah, these guys work on it. This is he does a good job. This is like playing basketball, man. He just that's what he gets him out of position.
Yeah.
And he takes advantage of the man defense, and JG puts it right where it needs to be. And I was impressed with that play. Good coaching, well executed. One more play, Denny, and we will be done.
I'll just say that I remember a lot of that doubling back when Devontae Adams was with Green Bay. He's now with the Las Vegas Raiders. But Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams ran that double back, especially down there on the goal line, like better than anyone. But, Ronnie Bell right there and J.J. McCarthy running it smooth as can be. It looked pretty good.
I just wanted to get one nondescript run play, okay? This is the young freshman Graham. He plays great technique. Here's the young guy Benny in there. Here's the young true freshman Derek Moore in there, and I just wanted to take a look. It looks like a simple nondescript. It's no big play, no touchdowns are scored, but it's really another sign of just a great run defense. Let's take a look. Guys are punching, coming off the ball, playing at the line of scrimmage. No gain. It looks like nothing. But we are playing football. We are playing football on their side of the line of scrimmage. We want to play football here. Where's my marker? We want to play football here on their side of the line of scrimmage. This is the thing Coach Mo used to always say. Let's play on their side. We don't want to play on the line of scrimmage. Let's play on their side. And that's where we're playing football. Our defensive linemen are coming and punching. And these are young guys punching. And look at the play by Benny over here. These are little things you look at. Watch how he's taking that backside guard and just stuffing them. Moore is stuffing them. No gain. Again, a nondescript play. People are going to, look at it, and it's not going to be in the highlights, but it's in my highlights because I really liked, Denny, the way we played the run today.
Yeah, hey, and Benny looked like he took on 2 defenders there and stayed at the line of scrimmage. That was pretty impressive. Well, the one thing about when you play lesser than foes here, there's going to be folks like if you don't line up and you don't get a tackle for loss or sack on every play, And if you're not, blowing them off the ball and going for 5-10 yards every time, you'll still get like, what does it mean? What does it matter? So that is behind us now. That's the good part. And now you can look forward to, but we have gotten a feel, if not a taste, of what Michigan is going to look like here in 2022. But,
Danny, let me just say this real quick. Okay, Nebraska coach lost his job. He lost to Georgia Southern, didn't get his team ready. I don't know if Northwestern ended up winning, but they were losing today to Southern Illinois or somebody. Indiana was struggling against Western Kentucky. I mean, this happens. Look at Texas A&M losing last week. Appalachian State is no joke, but there's people that are losing to these teams. And yeah, Hawaii, UConn, and Colorado State, they look terrible now, but I give credit to our head coach and our assistant coaches and our players that we didn't mess around, man. We did not screw around. If you don't get your mind right, if those coaches don't have these guys prepared, you can have problems. And I just want to credit our coaches and our players for, getting it done. We took care of our work. Now we got a real opponent coming in, and as a former player, they are looking forward to Maryland. Believe me.
I'm looking forward to Maryland. I'm looking forward to the start of the Big Ten. I'm looking forward to going back and watching Penn State and later on Michigan State and football all the rest of the day. And it was great being able to talk about the Michigan game with you. Do you got a final thought about what you saw from the Wolverines today, Scar?
Hey, everything was great, Denny. But I'm really disappointed and sad if that's the case with Cade. Because that was a comforting feeling. Now these coaches are have to try to figure out who's our second guy. Who is it? Is it the kid? Is it Bowman, the Texas Tech guy, has experience? But it is what it is.
I think it's Davis Warren.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they want to. Obviously, Davis Warren gives you the RPO threat. The run threat. The Bowman kid gives you the game experience. So, those coaches have an idea in their mind, and both those guys look good. So that's an upside. We got the Alex Orgy package. So things are good. We'll be fired up for Maryland.
Yep. If you missed that, you don't know what Scar's talking about, just tuning in. Cade McNamara, according to Jim Harbaugh, is probably going to be out a few weeks, and he'll miss some time. He does not believe that it's season ending. So that's it. Good luck to JJ. They're going to have to protect him. All right, Scar, great job. And we'll talk with you next week. We'll diagram some plays, and we'll have some other topics to dive into. Michigan's 3-0. They win it 59-0. Great job.
All right, Danny, go blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli. I'm Dennis Fithian. Thanks for watching, listening, your feedback, and everything else here on the Maize and Blue